But I will say this. I'm going to say this to the females. If you think you're bold enough and bad enough to assault a man who is literally not assaulting you, it hasn't hit you first or so, if he knocks the fecal matter out of you, that's on you. Okay? That's on you. Because some things you have to realize, not just in terms because a man is stronger, but you just shouldn't even be going there. And if you're getting angry enough, or you feel like you have so many issues and problems that you have to take it out on a person who's not doing that to you, you need to go get some help, some serious help, okay? Because it's interesting how there's a double standard, okay? And like I said, for someone, this has been many eons, years ago, okay? Because that's something I don't play. You can put your hands on me, because I'm likely to go there with you too, you know. But when I was younger, I had to learn that lesson that, you know, don't have something in you that has a man or anyone thinking that they can assault you or do domestic stuff or address you, you know, a certain way, right? But at the same time, I'm never going to be someone going around just going to pick a fight and bully with a man, well, let alone anybody, but it's definitely not a man, all right? But at the same time, don't come to me because you can get handled. So, you know, watch yourself. But anyway, I'm joking, kind of. But on another note is that females, you don't need to be trying to buck up against a man. And if he's calling you out of your name and he's doing a whole lot of different things, you need to leave that relationship. There are better ways to handle it. And though it's easier said than done, you have to make some decisions and get out ahead of it. You got to decide who you're going to be before certain things blow up, all right? But back to the lecture at hand in terms of men being labeled of being the ones who are very aggressive and the domesticators, you know, if you will. And again, a large number of that is still very true. At least that's what's reported. But like I said, I see and know things behind the scenes for sure, in terms of there are a lot of men who are really, I mean, they're dealing with it and they don't necessarily want to leave the relationship. And not because they're scared. It's not even the thing of people being scared. I think it's just one of those areas where men have not come to honor themselves a certain way as being the kings that they are, and wanting to take the high road, so to speak, and to be, you know, the better man, because sometimes they play to their ego as well and say, well, you know, I've already told myself this is the type of person I'm going to be in the relationship. I'm going to be the ride and die person. I'm going to be there for them, you know, no matter what. Yeah, but sometimes there's a line. You have to have boundaries. But the minute, as we tell, or I would tell any woman for sure, and what we tell in society, if a man puts his hands on you, you need to leave that relationship, and you need to make sure that you have gotten the best type of protection or so for him to stay away or whatever, whatnot. But again, it applies to men too. If a woman hits you one time, and then they'll say, well, you know, one time maybe you can let it slide. I don't know today. Because the thing about it, if you stick around, she can hit you with a weapon. She can hit you with something else. Don't ever underestimate the power of a female when she's upset or when she's in a certain zone, liable to do anything. I think you need to be more afraid of her than the vice versa, you know, in a sense. But, you know, I'm laughing, but I don't really want to make light, you know, of this, is that sometimes men can underestimate and just say, okay, well, she's hitting me, she's this, yes, it hurt and everything, but it's not really doing anything. I can tough that out and get it over. No, because you can get hit in one area that could seriously damage you, or it may not impact you right now, but something may show up later, just based on scratches, based on however, you don't know. So you definitely need to just leave that situation. But my thing is, you have to ask yourself, why am I in this situation? Why am I here? Why am I allowing myself to be bullied or even handled a certain way, you know, by a female? You know, why am I allowing this? Again, we go through this process with women, and counseling, and I counsel them, as well, on multiple levels. But those are the things that we chronically emphasize. You need to love yourself. We need to find out, why this is going on, why you've allowed this, and how you move forward, from here, and don't allow it to happen again. But there are men who need that same type of attention, because they're in what we think are very unique situations. But what you don't really realize, because it's not heavily reported, is it's not actually that unique and uncommon anymore. And couples fighting, that's kind of like a normal thing, or has been over the last 20 years. But the going back and forth, which lots of them do, but you would be surprised how many men, they don't mention it, they don't tell it, or they casually joke about it, but they are really dealing with being in abusive, toxic relationships. All right? But, it's time out for that. It's time out for the violence on all levels. But I will say to females, you need to reassess, for sure. And especially when you have men in your world. Nobody's perfect. You're not perfect. They're not perfect. When you have men in your world that are treating you well, and maybe they're not treating you as the best that you want to be, but who are you being in order to get that type of treatment? And then if he's not treating you a certain way, then you need to move on. But you don't need to start thinking that you can handle a man, or even putting yourself in a position to think, I'm going to have the upper hand here. You can have the upper hand in a sense, but at the same time, having the upper hand and using your hands or something else, that's a whole different set of circumstances. All right? See, when you're a majesty can command and just be, without having to get physical or assault. They'll just know to fall in line. Anyway, I'm joking, kinda.